I think people mistake confrontation with drama all the time. And most people want to live with no drama. But the thing is, not confronting things leads to more drama.
That's the truth.
And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about how to change the connotation of confrontation. In the living room, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Hey, listen, welcome back to the living room where we have real, honest conversations for whatever space of life you might be in. And I think this is a good one. I think a lot of people, babe, for some reason, they think confrontation is a fight. Confrontation is meet me at the playground, the monkey bars,
Let me take my earrings off.
I'm taking my earrings off. You know, for real though.
Yeah.
For real. And I think, man, there's so much unnecessary drama happens when we don't confront.
Yeah, that's so true. Do you feel like not having the skill to confront is maybe a cultural thing? Do you feel like it could be cultural, or do you feel it's just personality?
First of all, I love that you said the skill to confront, because confrontation is a skill you develop. It's not a gift you're born with. Now, what you're born with naturally is fight or flight.
Yes.
How you respond to
How you react
conflict,
to situations.
how you respond to tension, danger. Some people lean in, some people run away.
Yeah.
Right? Either one, leaning in and fighting or running away and fleeing, neither one is healthy. Confrontation is the healthy expression of both sometimes.
I love that, because either one is not a skill. It's just a reaction.
It's just a reaction.
It's your knee-jerk reaction of your personality.
Right. It's just a reaction. And we don't want to be people who live reactions, right?
Well, I think when we first met, or when we were first married, we definitely lived in reaction mode.
Yeah. No, well, we both had our own reactions, right? But I want to answer your question. So your question is it cultural? Is it dispositional? I think the answer is the being adverse to confronting and confrontation is a human thing. 9 out of 10 people do not want to be in hard situations. They don't, man. I'd rather deal with it on the inside.
Right.
I'd rather just
or
leave.
not deal with it.
Well, yeah, well, that's true. I'm not dealing with it, but I'm not dealing with it, but I'm dealing with it on the inside. That was a weird hiccup. Did you say that was really
It's
weird?
okay. I'm giving you some time.
That was a weird hiccup. Anyway, we're back. But you know, you don't deal with it, but you deal with it. And so, like, how many times have we dealt with and worked with and walked with people, babe, who like were so hurt and so offended and so bitter and so wrong about the perception that they had because they just wouldn't confront, right? So I think it's just a human thing. I've seen all cultures, all races, all ethnicities, all walks of life, and there is a consistent resistance to wanting to confront things. It's hard, man. Confrontation is hard. It really is hard.
I think there's good news though. The good news is that you can develop the skill. I do remember when this was something that you really pushed me towards, confronting situations, because you wouldn't fight the fight for me, which I know you could have.
And I did. There were many times where like you would come, you're like, you need to go and you need to talk and you need to, and it's just like, there was a moment where I was like, listen, I'm not doing this for you anymore.
Yes,
I can't do this for you anymore. You gotta put your big girl pants on.
Right. Because anytime there was confrontation on that I had to confront, I'm very passive. I'm like, oh, it's not that big a deal. Oh, it doesn't matter.
But here's the thing that was wrong. It was that big a deal to you. And I had to deal with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I had to deal with your hurt. I had to deal with your processing, your tears. I had to deal with your running through all the opinions. And in the back of my head, you know, now, and it probably wasn't in the back of my head. I probably said it to you in not a very refined way, but it was like, yo, go tell them. Why are you telling me?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't do this to you. Like, you know, yeah.
But I think even just thinking of putting myself in that situation of maybe speaking to a person, like I would start physiologically having symptoms. I would start sweating.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Your heart starts beating, and going through all those symptoms, even before getting to the actual situation, to me was not worth it.
No, it's not fun. You know what I mean? It's not fun. And I can see how I can see how for a lot of people it's just not worth it. I'd rather just abandon ship. I'd rather just end. I'd rather end the relationship. I'd rather just ghost people.
Right.
And you're confronting by being non-confrontational, which still creates confrontation, man, and still creates situations. And the truth is, fam, we're going to leak it somewhere. It's going to come out somewhere.
Yes, it doesn't just disappear.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, for real, it doesn't just disappear. It goes somewhere.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, for a lot of us, it goes into our next version. It goes into our next version of a relationship. It goes into our next job, our next place where we go and insert ourselves. And people who don't even know us and we don't even know are
dealing
and paying the bad interest of people they've never met.
Exactly.
And so it's wild, man. Yeah, I think. Again, I think it's a capacity. I think it's an ability that you build.
Yeah, I agree. Because wherever your next is, there you are.
Yeah, we love to say that, right?
So,
wherever you go, no matter where you go, right? So, dude, I've seen people leave cities.
Yeah, people thinking that they're gonna start fresh.
Yeah, well, avoiding confrontation, right? They'll leave a city. We find deep community in church, and so I've seen people leave church communities. I've seen people leave churches. Right. And no one even knows that they're like offended or that they're injured or wounded.
That's the sad part, is that you leave and then nobody knows there's something wrong. And then you're dealing with that all by yourself.
Yeah.
And you create a narrative in your head that somebody hurt you, and you have, the bad guy in your own mind, and you're fighting that fight for a long time by yourself when you could have had maybe a 30-minute conversation.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we get really weird by ourselves, right? Like we do. We arrive at really weird places, weird conclusions, weird perspectives, right? And so the majority of the time, we're going to convince ourselves of the story we tell ourselves.
Yep.
Right.
And you're amening your own head.
Yeah, it's called an echo chamber, right? And you're in a scary place that when the book of truth that you quote the most is the one that you wrote or are writing. And so the thing is, no matter who you are, you're going to end up believing your version of the story, your version of quote unquote truth. And what happens is it arrives at weird places. People that were used to love you and people you used to love, you start to demonize them. You start making them the villain.
Right.
You start making them the aggressor. You make yourself the victim, and you just tell your perspective of the story. Now that's not to minimize what happens. Our mentor would say it this way: hey, there's three sides to every story. There's your side, there's their side, and there's what actually happened.
The truth.
Right? And so when you give yourself the opportunity to confront, here's a benefit of confrontation, is you give yourself the opportunity to tell your story. You're able to hear their story, and together, the goal is when you confront something, you're able to get a better perspective and a better clarity on what actually happened.
Right. I've had so many aha moments, and maybe even gratitude where man, I am so glad I talked to that person, or even to you. I'm so glad I took the time to have this conversation with you to get an understanding, because now I'm not in a deep hole of the what ifs and if they and all these, thoughts of my own narrative. And now I'm like, oh shoot, I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think that that's what you could have thought.
Yeah.
So it always brings so much clarity. In other words, confrontation for me, I'm always so grateful when I do have it.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Super spot on with it, right? So giving yourself the gift of confrontation, which is funny to think about it man, I'm giving myself a gift, right? But at the very least, you're giving yourself honest perspectives, right? And you're giving yourself the ability to communicate and maybe to confess things.
Yeah.
So, the opportunity to get things out of you, man, that's a great thing. That's at least, if it goes well, man, I've seen times, because you and I mediate things all the time. And even in our own life, right, when we've had to confront things, you and I have gone in, we're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. There have been times where we've inadvertently hurt people, or me more than you intentionally hurt somebody. I was younger, immature, maybe acted petty, blah, blah, blah. You get the opportunity to reconcile. Right? Confrontation can lead to reconciliation, because it's man, I was able to tell you how I was feeling. when I was in my own little echo chamber, my little vacuum, I assumed you were going to react a certain way. And so I just was like, man, I'm not going to let you react this way. And I'm not going to let you re-hurt me and re-victimize me. And then what happens in confrontation, the person goes, man, I'm sorry.
Right.
I had no idea I was doing that to you. Man, please forgive me. And now there's this opportunity for reconciliation. I can't tell you how many times I've been on the end where I was upset, I was hurt, and I decided to say, man, I got to go talk this out. I didn't like when you did that. And it's like, man, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Right. I think you give yourself better opportunity for good outcomes and maybe good endings and good new beginnings when you confront well.
Yeah. I think what I'm hearing in my spirit is confrontation really is love. Because you have to love the person enough and yourself enough to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to put all these feelings aside. I'm going to like arrest what I'm feeling and I'm going to step into vulnerability because I love myself and I love you and I want to like squash this.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times if you're not avoiding confrontation, it's because you don't care. Like who cares? I don't care about that person. Like it was a baker and I'm never going to see him again.
Yeah.
You know, but if you truly love that person, I think that's why confrontation is so hard.
Yeah, because there's a lot of deep emotion,
Emotions.
deep sensitivity, deep sentiments connected to it. And there's also a lot of risk avoidance, right? Which I would call that fear of being rejected, fear of not being received well. You have to give yourself the opportunity to say this at the very least. Confrontation gives you the opportunity at the very minimal to say, well, I did everything I could. Yeah. I did this as many times as I could have. You know, we've gone through a season recently where some relationships have come to an end, and some relationships abruptly ended, and it was like, oh wow, okay, you know, and we've actually tried to confront in presenting ourselves, not confront like aggressively, but like, hey, I think we did something wrong and we didn't even notice. Can we have the opportunity to make it right? And we've gotten no reply on that. And so to me, it's like, well, I can move forward knowing I did the best I could. Yeah. I knocked on the door. I've left the door open if that person wants to come and, you know, have a conversation with me about, hey, I don't like how you did this. Right. Right.
I think that's a good point, is that you don't dwell on that relationship either. Right. Like if you knocked on the door and you're asking, hey, I want to have a conversation with you, and that person doesn't respond or rejects you, okay, you did your best. That was a form of confrontation. Right. And that didn't work out. Then now you're walking in, okay, how am I going to close this chapter?
Yeah. Confrontation helps you sleep good at night. Or the effort to confront. Right. You know, I would call confrontation what James 5:16 calls confession. Right. If you're hurting, if you're sinning, if you're sick, right? If you're struggling, if you're sinning, if you're sick, connect with people. Confess one to another so you can be healed, right? In that confession, you know, think about what a confession is. A confession is, I'm hearing you tell me you hurt me, or I'm telling you I hurt you, right? Either way, there's this dialogue that happens and the goal is healing. You know, you could confront something. You can confront a broken relationship. You can confront a tense relationship or tense interactions. And maybe the goal is not, we're going to be best friends and hold hands and sing Kumbaya, right? Maybe the goal is, hey, you know, I'm not going to get a stomach ache on the way to work because I know I have to see you. Right. On Mondays, I have staff meeting with this person. Oh my gosh, I'm you know, it's Sunday night and I have insomnia because I know tomorrow I'm going to go walk into some irreconciled tensions. Confession will lead to healing. Confrontation leads to healing. Now, it doesn't mean it restores everything the way it was, but at the very least, I can now move without the weight of the unknown, without the weight of the unspoken and the unresolved.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, and so I love what you said a few minutes ago about how confrontation is love. Well, you know, confrontation, I do believe it's an act of love, right? It's a love of myself. It's a love of my future. It's a love to make sure I end my previous season well. And so not only is confrontation a form of love, the scripture tells us that we should confront in love and with love, right? So when I speak the truth, because that's what confrontation is an effort to arrive at truth. That's not biased. It's not my truth. It's the truth, right? That I approach it with love. Right. And so if you don't know what what love, a good place or a good metric or definition of love, do yourself a favor, go read 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7, right? Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is honest. Love doesn't seek its own. Love seeks to understand.
Yeah.
Love puts others first. And if we approach confrontation with that, now, I can already kind of hear like the murmurs in the, in the living room, like, bruh, really? I'm going to go and be patient with the person that hurt me. I'm going to go and I'm going to be kind to the person that hurt me. Well, look, all patience is self-control.
Yeah. And
Like,
that's hard.
when you confront, you want to know how you keep a confrontation from becoming a combat zone?
Yeah.
You go in there and you say, look, I can't control this other person, but I'm going to control me. I'm going to control my tones. I'm going to control my words. I'm not going to curse. I'm not going to yell. I'm going to speak the truth. I'm going to give my
allow
assessment.
them to speak the truth.
Right. And I'm going to go in there with a goal of kindness. Kindness is not niceness.
Right.
We think niceness is like, oh man, it's okay.
Yeah.
No, that's not confrontation.
Right.
Confrontation is not so that you can, the person can be like, well, I'm sorry you felt that way. And you're like, oh, it's okay. That's not it at all. Kindness is like, I'm going into this and I'm hoping the best for the situation. Kindness is hoping the best for the other person. Right, man? You listen, I want the best for you. Maybe you don't even know you're doing this kind of thing.
Yeah, but let me just,
right.
yeah.
So I want to bless you. I want to bless you with some perspective. I'm going to go in there and I'm not going to be, the New Living Translation says it doesn't hold record of wrongdoing.
That's
right.
good.
So confrontation in love, right? 1 Corinthians 13 says love holds no record of wrongdoing. So confrontation is my goal to not stay stuck in a wrongdoing.
Yeah,
right?
not replay the situation and okay, this is what you did, and you did this 5 years ago and 7 years ago.
I want to balance the ledger. I
Yes.
want it to be like zero, right?
Right.
Like it's like, okay, all debts are paid, nothing is due, we're good. Next time I see you at church, next time I see you at the gym, next time I walk into a coffee shop and you were there, I'm not going to get that weird like adrenaline rush. Like, we've all had it when we see the person we're beefing with.
It's the worst. It's the worst. The Bible, as believers, the Bible talks about at your best of your ability, live peaceably.
Yeah, live at peace with all men as best as you can.
So
as best as you can.
I think even with that scripture, now I'm confronted by the Lord to confront others.
Live at peace.
Because
peace.
he's asking us, if it's at all in your power,
do
the best that you can
That's very
to
good.
live peaceably. Now, what can you do today, right now, to live peaceably among all men? That's what the Lord is asking us.
That's very good. Like, so you think about what peace is. Peace is not neutrality. Because some people will be like, well, we're just neutral. We're just not talking. Well, that's not peace.
Yeah.
Because you may not be talking to them, but you're talking about them.
Right. That's
right?
good.
And maybe you're not talking about them to everybody, but you're talking about them in your head. And you're wargaming and you're all that, that's not peace.
Yeah.
Maybe that's neutral, but that's not peace.
Yeah, that's not peace.
Right? And peace is the end of war, right? You've got to stop fighting. Don't go into the confrontation ready to fight again, right? You go in there saying, you know what? Look, I'm going to hope the good for you. Again, kindness and peace are cousins. I'm going to come in. I'm going to, it's good. Every form of good, it's welfare, it's prosperity. I want you to do better. I'm caring about your well-being. The scripture says this, Matthew chapter 5, Jesus says, blessed are the peacemakers, for they'll be called sons of God, right? And so like you think about that statement, you have to make peace. You don't just feel peace.
Right.
Right, you have to make peace.
No, I think that's a good point. I think a good strategy, if you're like, okay, I'm ready to maybe step into confronting somebody, you actually have to give yourself a pep talk, and you don't go in hot. You go in, like you said, you prep yourself on how you're going to present yourself in the confrontation.
Yeah.
I think you really have like a lose-lose situation when you go in hot, you go in mad, you go in reactive. That's not confrontation. You're just going into battle. So I think a good handle would be like, okay, if I'm ready to confront, how am I walking into it?
Yeah. To me, the handles are how you confront is the definition of love in 1 Corinthians 13, 4-7. Confront patiently. Go in there and be patient. Be kind. Hope and desire the good for both of you, for both parties involved. Don't go in there long suffering. I'm going to carry this, and I'm not. Long suffering means I'm not going to be super reactive. Again, it's connected to patience. I'm not going to be in there and I'm not going to seek my own, right? I'm going to get mine. Like,
Yeah.
don't do that, right? Hope for the best. Find things to bless, not things to curse. Yeah, I think
That's good. I think the first handle then is before you confront somebody else, confront yourself.
that's a word right there.
Confront yourself.
That's a
and when
word.
you've confronted yourself, then
You're
you
ready.
can step into 1 Corinthians. And once you've grasped 1 Corinthians, then you can confront the person.
I love that. That's so good. Like apply 1 Corinthians to yourself. Be patient with you. Like for me, a lot of times if something is unreconciled and unconfronted in my own life, I'm impatient with me.
You
right?
really
I mean,
are.
you're around me,
Yeah.
right? It's like, God, I'm
You're
so
so
I'm like,
uncomfortable.
I'm restless and I'm just like, man, I'm stupid. How did I let that happen?
Yeah.
Why did I do that? Why did I? Oh my God. And I'm just
You're very
really,
harsh on yourself.
Yeah, I am. You know, so I'm very I'm impatient with me. I'm not kind to me. I'm certainly keeping a record of wrongdoing, right? And so, man, I love that, Diana. That's such a great thought. Before you go confront them, confront you with love, and then you'll begin to be ready to confront them or to confront it.
Yeah, that's good.
That's very, very good, man. That was helpful for me today. That enriched my life.
Yeah, that blessed me too. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Good word.
And I think that's good for the living room today.
Yeah.
You know, don't live unconfronted, unreconciled. Confront it with you first. Invite the Holy Spirit. Invite the Lord. Maybe invite some wise counsel, some people around you. Like, hey,
sure.
I'm going to talk about this. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm seeing. This is how it felt.
That's wise.
What do you think?
That's
right?
wise.
Bring some counsel into it. Don't do it just me, myself, and I. Right? Like me, myself, and you. Like, let me talk to you. Am I being petty? Am I being dumb? Am I childish? Am I in the right? Am I missing something? Wise counsel is safe. That's what the word says. The word says that there's safety in a multitude of counsel, right? So bring some counsel, bring some prayer, and then when you're ready, when you've confronted you, right? Man, that's a good word, babe. Then you're ready to confront it.
Yeah.
And them.
Oh, good.
That's very good. Hope that helps you in the living room. I think that's gonna be beneficial for a lot of people.
Yes. And
hey,
if it was, let us know.
let us know, man. Put it in the comments. Follow us on IG. We're up to a bunch of stuff, man. There's a whole other life outside of the living room on IG. All of our Instagram details are in the video description below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, man. But more than anything, thank you for being a part of this. We're so grateful that you're here. Thanks for giving us a little bit of room and a little bit of space
In
your
your
living
room.
room. Yeah, for sure. We love y'all. Talk to you later.